have been asked by 3 members to give their unavoidable apologies today. That's Councillor Legg, Councillor Guy and Councillor Fraser. Item 1 on our agenda are declarations of interest. Do I have any, please? No. Thank you. Number 2 is urgent items. I have none. So we'll move straight on to item 3.
Good morning, members. The sound seems to have gone on to the not working for me. I hope you can hear me. Then perhaps you could give me a wave, Tom, to make sure you can hear me. Good. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. Morning, members. So today's report is to consider an application to the Department of Levelling Up for a round 2 bid for the Museum and Cultural Centre as an outline business case. Members will hopefully recall that in terms of levelling up, there are 3 areas that you can fund for. The first was transport, and you'll recall we've already put a bid in for the new vessels and harbour works. The second is for town centre regeneration projects, and the third was for arts, culture and leisure project, within which this particular project falls. You may wonder why we are putting in a second bid. We're allowed to put in a second bid. That's within the rules of the Levelling Up funds. And you'll also recall that we have been designated as a priority area for the Arts Council in supporting us as we take this bid forward. If members are minded to approve putting a bid in, they need to go in by, I think currently it's the 6th of July. And then we would continue to work and refine the bid through the summer ahead of any formal announcement from the government, which is not likely to be until October or November of this year. In parallel, we will continue to seek other sources of funding that the report refers to. And hopefully, if we're able to secure this funding and the other funding still to be worked up, we will be coming back to members with a further detailed report, because by that point we should hopefully know what funds we have been able to secure, and there may well likely to be some further amendments to our proposals depending on what funding we get. So hopefully, if all that comes together, we may well be in a position to come back to members with a report on this particular application, other applications, and bringing the whole of the project together probably by the early spring of next year for a full and detailed report to members and for them to make that decision on whether to proceed or not with the project. So from my particular point of view, I'd like to give a big thank you to all the staff in the council, our consultants who've pulled out all the stops yet again to pull together this bid in record time. It's been a massive effort, and it's a fantastic opportunity for the islands where, if we're successful, we can provide a new museum and cultural centre for generations to come. However, there is still a long way to go and lots of detail to be further refined. But with that, Chairman, I'd hand over to Nicola, Strategic Director.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. Thank you, Nicola.
Thank you, Chairman. Is that working okay? Can everyone hear me? Good. So the Museum and Cultural Centre project is progressing well. We're now at what's called RIBA Stage 3, which, together with the outline business case, puts us in a strong position to now seek further capital funding for the project. The outline business case is the culmination of work over the last 12 months, which has brought together technical experts, the community and stakeholders to enable the project to develop from what was a concept, an idea, to a detailed design at this stage. We now have the information required for the outline business case, which will give assurance to project funders about both deliverability and the need for the project. It allows a credible bid to be made. The outline business stage is a stage in the process of project development where the initial information for the project is brought together into a single document for the first time. It still has many unanswered questions, and these answers will come over the next few months as we develop the full business case. And I sent through yesterday an addendum that explains the different stages of project development, showing the gaps of knowledge that we'd expect to see at outline business case. As we move towards full business case, that information will be gathered and collated. Yeah, it's got an answer questions, but we will have those answers by, I would have thought, early 2023 at the latest. And once we've reached the outline business case in stage 3, we can now put these capital funding bids in that enable credible applications to be made. The first recommendation is to submit the levelling up fund bid based on this outline business case, whilst recommendation 3 uses the same business case to submit further capital funding bids from both National Lottery and Shared Prosperity, because the information contained within it will be that required for those bids as well. Bids are competitive and we need to make the strongest and best case for this project. I don't intend to go into details on the outline business case in this presentation, but the key points to note are that we have a really clear rationale in the strategic case for the project, and that's already been acknowledged by the Arts Council and their support for this project. The economic case is already well developed and strong. The financial case is well informed and as good as it can be at this stage in the process, but further work will continue on this section to manage risk and costs as the project develops. The commercial case is regulatory compliant and acknowledges the need for early engagement with the construction sector. The management case is evolving to ensure we have a strong governance in place, and included at recommendation 5 is a proposal for a nomination from this council to sit as a trustee on the museum board at this important stage in the development of the project. The recommendations are set out in full on pages 1 and 2 of this agenda pack, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nicola. I'm going to ask Councillor Sims to come in first on this, as he has to leave the meeting shortly. Thank you, Councillor Sims.
Yes, thank you for a very full paper. I think I absorbed as much of it as I could, and then my mind stopped working, really. But overall, I thought it was very satisfactory, and I may not be here to vote, so I may not be able to propose actually propose, but I'd like to propose all the recommendations, and I believe, Councillor Bedford, you're happy to be a trustee. And for recommendation 5, I'd happily propose Councillor Bedford for it. So, I think we really do need to get this through and quickly. And well done, everybody. It was an amazing piece of work.
Thank you, Councillor Sims. And I'll go to Councillor Dean, please.
Thanks, Chair. I haven't really got very much to add, really, other than, I think the fact that the Arts Council have already offered their maximum grant for this project shows what they think of the project. And I think it is fair to say, as Nick has already pointed out, that there will be much more analysis and challenge about the figures throughout the process. And we do have to bear in mind that this is an outline business case, and it's there for us to apply for this funding, or these fundings. So I think it speaks for itself. I know there's going to be some questions in a minute, and I know there's a proposed extra recommendation, but I'm happy to second the proposals for Councillor Bedford and all the other recommendations as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dean. Councillor Bedford.
Thank you. I just want to say what a really fantastic report this is, Nicola. It's a really good read. I found it's long, but it's interesting. And it, made me think. I think, the financial side of it, as you said, needs a lot more work. I just want to say one thing, really. I just think as elected members, we are there trying to look through the eyes and the hearts of the community, to say what they want. And they actually want this base in the St Mary's, for this community cohesiveness. There has been some negative comments about the fact that maybe some of us have challenged some aspects of this project, which I think really may be unfair, because actually it's about transparency. It's about saying we're prepared to debate this, we're prepared to consider this. These are massive reports that we've had to read for this project. And what comes from that is a lot of questions. It doesn't mean that we're anti the project. It means that actually we really want to give it the full consideration that this work deserves. I'm very much for the project. I have got concerns about some aspects of the financial viability, which Nicola has taken time to answer and explain. It would be nice to see some input from the farmers, local farmers market, if they're going to use the facility, and the theatre club and the local arts and crafts people to see their business plans, or they want to use the facility. But actually, overall, it is a brilliant piece of work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Bedford. Councillor Marcus.
Yeah, thanks. It's worth, I think, noting the addendum that was released yesterday and added to the papers. Nicola, the difference between the outline business, could you explain to me what difference from the outline business case to the full business case would you expect there to be in terms of numbers and detail and things like that?
I think probably critical for you to know at this stage is that when you get to full business case, the full business case is informed by the tender prices. So you'll know the actual costs of the facility, and you'll also know that the funding's in place or not. So at the full business case, you've got all the pieces of the jigsaw together. At this stage, we're putting the jigsaw together, but this is one piece of it. So a bit like the revenue funding, if you remember, we had 5 different funding streams to get us to this stage. It's the same with the capital funding. We're trying to fit it all together. And when we've got all that together, that's when the final answers to all the questions are given in relation to the full business case. So there's a lot of work to do on all the cases, but in particular, the financial case has to be informed by tender prices. So there's work to do there between now and next March to make sure that we've warmed the market up, they're aware of the project, and they can cost it effectively and we can manage risk.
Cool. And the economic case as well, that would be there, like the business plan and...
Yeah, the economic case and the business plan looking forward in terms of the long-term sustainability of the facility is work that's starting now, because actually you need to have your end users engaged now to make sure, one, that the facility meets their needs. But as Anita said, we need to make sure all those end users are engaged at this stage in the process, and that we know what's viable, what's reasonable in terms of income predictions, etc. So the first stab is your outline business case. This is best guess that with the information we've got so far, with the engagement we've had, by full business case, it should be 90% there. You know, you'll never know for certain, because once you get into the construction stage, all sorts of things can happen. But you'll be 90% there in terms of your confidence with the project.
Yeah, because I think that's what, for me, my personal thing, the sustainability of the project is the most important thing, but we're not creating another white elephant over there that the council's going to have to bail out later on. So it's really good to see that gap and the information that you put in the supplement about what we need to ensure, what more work needs to go into it to ensure that sustainability. Just the other thing I had was the in terms of reference for the major, what's it called, the major project group, or the project board, major project board. Is that something that will come back to members in terms of, or is that just because it's operational, is that something that you guys as senior leaders will look at?
If Paul wants to comment on that, but the idea generally is that at this stage, that's again the best guess at this stage. Paul Hamill has been working on the management case and how we set the governance up, and of course we've got, as we describe the project in different stages, we've got this current stage where we're working in partnership. So we've got a project board that's got all our partners on and key stakeholders. In the construction stage, we've got a governance structure that needs to hold us to account as the funding body. And then we've got the future stage, which is the operation of the facility, and what's the governance there. The point at this stage is to make sure that each part of the process has correct governance in place, and that you've got assurance that you've got oversight, both as accountable body, but to make sure that the end users have got what they need, and that's going to be accountable. That's going to work too. So hence the need for a trustee to be on the museum board to make sure the community users are represented. I don't know if Paul wants to come and explain a little bit more about the management case and the project board itself.
Thank you, Nicola, and thank you for that opportunity. The major projects board is set up with the specific purpose of trying to give a holistic view of all of the work that's going on within the council as major projects. Because we know that we've got the vessel replacement programme, We've got the Museum and Cultural Centre, we've got the flood works, etc. And as Russell Ashman has pointed out at previous meetings, a concern is looking rather than just at individual projects, what is the impact of the overall, of the combination of projects on the council in terms of resources, risk profile, deliverability. And so major projects brings together the individual projects reports and allows a group to review holistically the impacts of all of those projects. Importantly, that group, the major projects, brings the information together, but any decisions to be made on those major projects would come back to full council to be made. So the proposal is that we have lead members assigned to the major projects who are looking at them in the very, very detailed way, as Tim is at the moment on this one. But full council can then make decisions on recommendations from that major projects board. But it's a draft at the moment. We're looking to flesh it out with proposals, both with audit and also member input, and then bring it to full council for approval and endorsement.
Okay. And if I may, Chairman, just to build on that as well, I mean, it's wider than this report, but members will recall that this is one of the things that I said we would be doing in terms of strengthening our project management approach. And as Paul said, this will then be incorporated into our performance reports to full council. So the members would have an oversight of their most important projects, but the proper debate on progress at full council. So all decisions still rest with full council, but it's giving you more visibility of all those projects in one place.
Okay, so that's what I'm getting. In terms of reference for this project board, it's just a draft at the moment, and this paper isn't ratifying those. They'll be ratified.
Yes. Sorry to cut. Yes, absolutely right, Councillor Marcus, in the fact that we'll be bringing back to you, when Paul's finished, as he said, their work on all of it, a detailed sort of how it all comes together for members to decide, yes, that's the way we wish to manage projects in this council.
Thank you. That's it, thanks.
Thank you very much for that. Councillor Watt, please.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Something strangely enough, I read an article the other day about the war in Ukraine, and I thought, well, this is pretty parallel to this in one sense, although not obviously as tragic. We can will the end even though we don't have the means. And I thought that was a superb statement, and there's a parallel between that event and this project. And I would fully support this going forward. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Watt. Councillor Bedford.
It's a query, really, Nicola. I was listening to the news yesterday from my bins, and I understand that Cornwall Council has pulled out of the Stadium for Cornwall project that was going for levelling up bids, because the focus is going to be on the 6 MP consistent areas, that those projects. And I haven't explained myself very well, but will this impact, do you think, on our bid regarding Derek Thomas's support for us trying to get this bid in? Might not be able to answer that.
Yes, so in terms of the success of the bid, one of the assessment criteria is has your MP prioritised this as their priority project. They can only have one. They have one priority project, but they can act as a supporting stakeholder for other projects. So our MP has said he will support this project because he'd already committed as a priority project to a project elsewhere in Cornwall, I think Helston. But that doesn't weaken the case. So previously, that would have carried much more weight in the assessment of the proposals than it will do now. So there's nothing to stop Derek Thomas sending in a letter of support and also lobbying ministers for this project. And he's committed to support this project as much as he can. And he did go and ask whether he could have 2 priority places given our geography, but was told no, he couldn't, but he could go down the support route. So it's not as strong in terms of the assessment criteria as if we had it as his nomination as his priority bid, but his letter of support will carry significant weight as well.
Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you very much. Councillor Grottick.
Thank you, Chairman. As we've seen, there's universal support for this project coming from round the table, and I found the comments both from colleagues and the officers extremely helpful, especially the comments from Paul Hamill about the project management board, which gives us, as the Chief Executive said, an added level of security as we move forward with several really large projects for the Council. I would also say that, as we all know, this is an outline business case, and I would hope that more local input would assist some of the financial viability statistics would be really important. And to finish, I'd just like to add a recommendation at the appropriate time, recommendation 6, just to firm up one or two of the development aspects of the full business case. And perhaps, not to finish, because I'd forgotten that it is going to be my pleasure to nominate Councillor Anita Bedford for the post as a council member representative to sit on the Arthur Cilley Museum Board at recommendation 5. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm actually going to take recommendation, the detail of recommendation 5 after this, but we will. I've got a proposer and a seconder for the adoption of all the recommendations, including recommendation 6. Could you please show if you are in support of these 6 recommendations? Thank you. That is unanimous. And I'd like to go back now to recommendation 5, and I have a proposer and a seconder for Councillor Bedford to be our representative. And are there any other nominations, please? No, so I have a proposer and a seconder. Will all of you vote in favour of Councillor Bedford? Thank you. That's also unanimous.
Chair, just for clarity, would you like me to read out the additional recommendations?
Yes, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Colleagues, as we previously discussed, I would like to add recommendation 6, which you have agreed to support, but for clarity, I would just like to read it. That the business case continues to be developed and that the final full business case should adjust the issue of storage and financial assumptions on visitor numbers and income. That the final version of the full business case be brought back to full council for review and approval prior to the council entering into any future funding commitments to become the accountable body for delivering the project. And for the avoidance of doubt, I would just like to recommend that additional recommendation. I don't know if you'd like a separate confirmatory vote on that, Chair.
Yes, I think we should. I should have taken that. I know members were aware of it, but I should have taken it earlier for the benefit of the community as well. So could I have confirmation, please, proposed by Councillor Crottick? Could I have a seconder? Councillor Marcus, all those in favour? That's unanimous. Thank you very much indeed. I'd just like to end by thanking our officers, especially Nicola Stinson, but all our officers, for the immense amount of work that they've put in very quick time towards this business case. And as Anita Bedford pointed out, it's a massive amount of work and gives us a lot of information. And without a lot of resource, this has been done in double quick time. And we very much appreciate your efforts, Nicola, and everybody else. Thank you very much indeed. And with that, I will close the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman.